Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video. And today I'm going to be doing an interesting video that I've been actually wanting to discuss for a while. And now with but I wanted to wait until the Black Widow movie came out. Uh, and obviously I went to go see it. And see what they were going to do, since this was kind of an origin story of Black Widow. Sort of. I mean, they didn't get really in depth with it because obviously it was a prequel film. Since spoilers, Black Widow is already dead prior to this film because of Endgame, but this movie took place before Endgame, so I want to kind of get into this because this has been something that I really wanted to talk about for a while, and it's something now I really want to talk about now. So obviously, Black Widow, for anybody who doesn't know, is a Russian spy from the Red Room. She's basically brainwashed. I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but you guys, Marvel fans and superhero fans pretty much know the whole story of Black Widow, Natalia Romanov. The one thing a lot of people don't know about Natasha, which they sort of explored in the movie, and they really kind of got into certain things, but they ultimately kind of just left it as is. Spoilers from the movie. They went in through a lot of things. Natasha had been talked about how her mom abandoned her and that she was left, and then that was debunked by, the leader of the Red Room, and just a bunch of stuff. And ultimately, the leader of the Red Room basically told her that your mother, your biological mother, I should say, was unknown. Like, he wouldn't tell her who it was. And they just basically left it like that. And there's for good reason why they did this. And I'm going to show you guys some facts about Black Widow. So, basically, Black Widow, her last name being Romanov isn't a coincidence. Stan Lee put that in there for a reason. So, I'm going to show you guys some stuff right now, which we are going to do right now. So, where is it? Okay. So, this is the official Marvel website for the full bio of, superhero characters in the Marvel Universe. So, I want to show you guys something that all right. So with that technical difficulties aside, so I want to show you guys this. So this is the full bio of Black Widow, Natasha Romanov. So the first thing that comes up right here when you go to Hero of Our Time is it says Natasha Romanov was born in the Soviet Union as Natasha Alionon Romanov. I probably pronounced that wrong. I apologize for that, but nonetheless. And although her exact percentage is unknown, it is rumored that she is related to the late Romanov dynasty, the former rulers of Russia. But those claims have so far been unproven. So, this is from the official, again, Marvel thing. And like I said, orphan as a child, she was rescued during an attack from a man, Ervin, who looks after her and trains her as the girl. So, for anybody who doesn't know, this is the rumor right here, but it has yet been confirmed or denied to this day. Even up to current day in the cinematic Marvel universe, they still have not confirmed who the biological mother is. I'll show that again. Okay, so they will not show who the biological mother is. And the reason for this is simple. Natasha Romanov's biological mother is Anastasia Romanov, from the the Russian family. And I'm going to explain, why this happened and why they won't officially confirm it. Probably will never confirm it, but they're going to keep this whole tidbit about the Romanov dynasty still in there because it's been in there for so long and they just, I don't think, want to change it. So, we got it right. Oh, that's for later. Okay. So this is the actual panel of Natasha from Soviet Union 1928. This is Arvin, who is basically coming to the rescue of this female from being crushed, but she just basically says to save Natasha, which he does. She says that she's a Romanov, and then she gets crushed, and then he says, indeed, Urban. So this guy right here is basically a soldier who is basically, I guess, sympathetic to the Romanovs. Now this actually makes sense because obviously there were soldiers that were a part of the Soviet Union that didn't want the Romanov family to die. They just didn't want them in power anymore. And so this is definitely a believable story. Now, Black Widow first debuted as a comic book in April of 1964, which this whole storyline of her being a Romanov, which, by the way, this pronunciation is how a female is addressed as a royal, is with an A rather than no A. So a lot of the men are addressed this way, but the females are addressed this way. So this is how it makes sense. Now, of course, this was changed to the literate translation of Romanov with the off in it, in there. Now, this is due to the fact that, obviously, that is what a lot of Romanovs did. A lot of surviving Romanovs did this after the Bolsheviks destroyed or killed the entire family when they did. So, now, in 1964, this is when it happened. Now, I believe it was in 1958 that the actual live-action Anastasia movie was made. And this, of course, we pretty much know the story about the Anastasia story, about how, somehow Anastasia managed to survive. While it was a captivating story for so many decades, for so many people, unfortunately, it was debunked in 2007, as we all know. Anastasia and Alexei were found. DNA confirmed it. And so that's pretty much the end of the story. But like, I'm not going to get totally into the whole story because everyone has already talked about it and whatnot. But that's not really the point of this video. But you got to understand something. In 1964, when this comic book, or when this character was debuting, the climate and the belief of Anastasia's existence of being still alive was still very much in the hearts and minds of many people at this time. And still a lot of people were questioning whether Anastasia was alive or dead. So it makes sense that Stan Lee himself, writing this character, would do this, especially since, well, we all know the United States weren't big fans of the Soviet Union at this time. And so it made sense that Stan Lee would have created a character where it's kind of, she's a Russian spy, but somehow linked to people that, people still to this day really admired. And that being the Russian dynasty, the Romanov, which obviously was more in high regard with the United States than the Soviet Union. So this makes sense logically to why they put this storyline into Black Widow at the time. Now, of course, it was never confirmed, probably because they didn't want the publicity, especially if the myth had ever been debunked, which it did in 2007. So that's probably why they never officially came out and said who Natasha's mother was. So, like I said, this is kind of the origins of Black Widow. And if you look at Black Widow, she obviously has red hair, which, Anastasia had sun-rising hair, kind of a mixture of blonde and black, blonde and red. So this kind of makes sense. Now, there's actually someone, and I found this, actually kind of made a fictionalized family tree based off the comic book continuity, and they basically show the Romanovs, the direct heir Romanov. You see Nicholas, you see, Tatiana, Olga, Maria, Alexia, and they basically say it's all deceased. Now you see these other guys, and then you see Anastasia, who is alive in this comic book, and then you see an unnamed deceased here. Now, first of all, I just gotta say, whoever did this, this is the black hair is totally inaccurate, because that's not what Anastasia's hair looked like, unless you're going for that. Well, she was disguising herself, so she dyed her hair black, I guess. For nostalgia purposes, I'm gonna call this unnamed deceased guy Dimitri, because obviously I was a big fan of the Anastasia 1997 cartoon movie. So we're just gonna call this Dimitri here. Then we see this right here, which again, there's a couple different continuities from Marvel where you see Natasha. It says question mark, but obviously pretty much everyone believes that this is Anastasia's kid. And they also show the clone. This is from a different continuity of Marvel, where there was a clone of Black Widow. But nonetheless, they also actually, I don't know why they show this, since they obviously showed Alexandra dead in here, but they did put this here. And then, of course, they show the 3 different timelines for Natasha, where she marries Captain America, and then there's the other one where she marries this James guy, and then there's the other one where Red Guardian, I'm not feeling that one, but okay. And then there's this one right here, and yeah, so that is the kind of fictional family tree here that they were going for. Um, but yeah, what's my opinion on this? As I show you guys this, like I said, Marvel isn't really like they're not denying that this is possible. Like I said, like you wouldn't put this in here if it didn't, there's a possibility because they say, and so far it's been unproven. That's what they put in there. Oh, it's unproven, but it's still possible, and you wouldn't put that in there if it wasn't possible. So, um, like I said, I believe this was put in because at the time when, and I don't know if Stanley has ever commented on this. I'm assuming he hasn't, but I give more of the author's intent more the benefit of the doubt. And I do believe Stanley's intent here was to link Black Widow to Anastasia because Anastasia was still in high regards in the 60s at the time the comic book or the debut of Black Widow was around. And of course, obviously, the United States didn't like the Soviet Union, so they had to create a character that would be kind of justified in a way where you wouldn't really hate the character because she's like, kind of indirectly a part of the Soviet Union, even though she's a Russian spy. So I think this is why she was written this way in the beginning. And like I said, the movie that just came out doesn't really debunk the fact that she could potentially be a royal. Um, Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that, like, she couldn't be related to someone from the Romanovs that wasn't from the direct family. Um, you know, Obviously, Nicholas's sister survived. There are other, Romanovs that survived that weren't a part of the direct royal line of in terms of the actual ruler. Obviously all of Nicholas's children and his wife unfortunately were killed, but not necessarily, the other, uh, you know, family members outside of that direct line were assassinated. So, like I said, this is kind of, again, this is always going to be a hypothetical because I don't think Marvel is ever going to confirm or deny whether or not Anastasia was the mother of Natasha. Um, if they really were going to, I think they would have done it in the movie. In the movie, they basically just had them say unknown. So that pretty much tells you that they're going to always leave this a mystery. But then again, I guess it makes sense since the real Anastasia was fate was basically a mystery for 80 plus years. So, in a way, it does kind of make sense that they would want to leave this a mystery. Um, but again, this is basically the only information I have, and basically the only thing I can really kind of go on because this is pretty much all you can really go on is what they're saying. And again, obviously, Natasha ended up training in the Red Room and, became, a powerful, Russian spy. And, that was kind of her story. She was actually, brainwashed at one point. So really, her thoughts of the Romanovs was probably a second nature to her because she pretty much didn't know you know, probably that she was related to the Romanovs. She never lived her life knowing that she was related to the Romanovs. So that's pretty much how her story is told. Um, so, you know, I'm going to take this off right now. So, yeah, that's basically the story, and that is basically kind of what I'm going on. I do believe Stan Lee's intent for the creation of Black Widow was to be the daughter of Anastasia without really kind of confirming it, and I think he was planning, or they were planning to do it in the future at some point if any new factual news came out about Anastasia being legitimately alive. But when there wasn't any proof, especially with the Annie Anderson whole debacle, you know, obviously Annie Anderson was, you know, probably one of the biggest frauds in history, probably one of the most well-known frauds in history, since we all know that she was not the actual Anastasia. DNA pretty much proved that she wasn't Anastasia. Um, so, obviously, Stan Lee probably just decided to keep it a mystery, but never retconned it because he had already written it that way. And still to this day, it still lives in with Black Widow Natasha Anastasia, or Natasha Romanov's story to this day. And so it's pretty much probably going to always be a mystery, but I just felt like I wanted to make a video about this, especially now that the movie is out, and again, never debunks this continuity, never actually debunks the possibility of her being related to Anastasia or any of the Romanovs for that matter, but at the same time does not confirm it. So to me, I think this will always be a mystery for Black Widow. And in a way, I guess it should be a mystery because it's based off of a story that was full of mysteries for 80 plus years. And that's how I think they're going to leave it. What do you guys think? Do you think she's related to Anastasia or any of the Romanovs? Or, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? I personally think the whole intent for this was for her to be related to Anastasia. And that's, obviously, this would be the fictional comic book story of it. Just like the 1997 movie, where Anastasia somehow lives, which was, probably one of the best cartoon movies, out there at the time that came out. Was a huge fan of it as a kid. So that's what I kind of think. I'd like to know what you guys think. What do you guys think? Where do you think Black Widow is related to? In terms of who the actual mother is. I would like to know what you guys think. Comment, rate. If you like this video or any of my other videos, please subscribe. Also, hit the notification bell for all the latest contents. Make sure, links in the description box for all the, the Discords and all that stuff. But make sure to subscribe and also check to make sure you are subscribed because YouTube is unsubscribing people. So, yeah, do all that stuff. Make sure to hit the bell for all the latest contents. I'm out of here. I'm the SS Ultimate Goku. I'm out of here. Peace!